coastal town of Windermere was a place of perpetual charm. Tucked between cliffs that stood like ancient sentinels in a restless sea, the town carried an air of timelessness. Its cobblestone streets wound through clusters of weathered buildings, each a monument to stories untold. On this particular autumn afternoon, Johnny Depp found himself wandering those streets, seeking solace in the town's quiet magic. Johnny was in Windermere for the filming of a period drama, a project that had called to him with its depth and melancholic beauty. But today was a rare day off, and he decided to explore the town. He wore a wide-brimmed hat and a long scarf, blending effortlessly with the town's bohemian air. As he strolled past the bakery and the old clock tower, a small shop caught his eye. The sign above the door read, "Whispering Pages, Rare Books and Curiosities." Intrigued, Johnny stepped inside. The air was thick with the scent of aged paper and varnished wood. Shelves lined the walls, crammed with books, trinkets, and artifacts. Oil lamps cast a warm glow, illuminating the room with an inviting light. Behind the counter stood an elderly shopkeeper, her eyes sharp and twinkling like she knew 1,000 secrets. "Welcome," she said, her voice as soft as the rustle of turning pages. "Feel free to browse. The right story always finds its reader." Johnny nodded politely and began to explore. His fingers brushed against spines of books that whispered promises of forgotten worlds. Then on a table near the back, he saw it, a leather-bound diary, its cover worn but exquisite. It seemed to call to him. "That one has been waiting," the shopkeeper said suddenly by his side. "It's special." Johnny picked up the diary, feeling its weight. It was cool to the touch, as if it had been hidden from sunlight for decades. He opened it carefully, revealing pages filled with elegant handwriting, sketches, and the occasional smudge of ink. "Who did it belong to?" Johnny asked. "A dreamer named Margaret," the shopkeeper replied. "She lived here in the 1960s. A brilliant mind, but burdened by her time. Her story is within those pages, waiting to be heard." Johnny's curiosity was piqued. Without hesitation, he purchased the diary and left the shop, feeling as though he had just unearthed a treasure. That evening, Johnny sat in his rented cottage overlooking the sea. The waves crashed rhythmically against the rocks, a soothing backdrop to his reading. As he opened the diary again, Margaret's voice seemed to come alive through her words. Margaret's first entry was dated June 12, 1963. She described herself as a woman with dreams too big for her small town. She wrote of her passion for storytelling, of characters that lived in her mind but never found their way onto the printed page. Her sketches, scattered throughout the diary, were breathtaking. Delicate portraits of imagined faces, fantastical creatures, and landscapes that felt both real and otherworldly. But as Johnny read on, a picture of Margaret's struggles emerged. She had been a young woman with boundless creativity, yet societal expectations and personal tragedies had tethered her to a life she had never chosen. There were letters to herself, filled with hope and despair in equal measure. Some entries ended abruptly, as though the weight of her thoughts had become too much. Johnny felt a strange connection to Margaret. Her dreams of creating art that mattered resonated deeply with his own journey. He saw fragments of himself in her words, the vulnerability, the longing, the refusal to give up despite the odds. One unfinished story in particular caught his attention. It was a tale of a girl named Eleanor who discovered a hidden world through a portal in her garden. The story ended mid-sentence, as if Margaret had been interrupted. Johnny couldn't stop thinking about it. "What happened to Eleanor?" he whispered to the empty room. Margaret's sketches of Eleanor's world were equally captivating. The pages showed lush, unearthly landscapes, forests of towering crystalline trees, rivers that shimmered like liquid silver, and creatures with eyes that seemed to peer into one's soul. As Johnny studied the sketches, he felt a peculiar sense of longing. It was as though Margaret's words and images had unlocked something dormant within him, a desire to create, to explore the unknown. The next morning, Johnny returned to the set with the diary tucked securely in his bag. Between takes, he would steal moments to read more of Margaret's entries. Her words became a sanctuary, a reminder of the power of storytelling. As the days passed, Johnny found himself wondering about Margaret's life beyond the diary. Who had she been? What had kept her from finishing her stories? Johnny's fascination with Margaret's diary grew into an obsession. Between scenes on set, he would read her entries, piecing together her life. One day he noticed a small inscription at the back of the diary, "For my daughter Claire. May you find your dreams." The inscription was a clue. Margaret had a daughter. Determined to learn more, Johnny began his search. With the help of a local historian and some online digging, he traced Claire to a neighboring town. She was now in her 70s, living in a modest home surrounded by a garden that seemed to bloom perpetually. When Johnny knocked on her door, Claire answered cautiously. Her gray hair was pulled into a loose bun, and her eyes held a mix of curiosity and suspicion. "Can I help you?" she asked. Johnny introduced himself and explained why he was there. When he showed her the diary, Claire's hands trembled as she took it. "I had no idea this existed," she said, tears welling up in her eyes. "My mother, she never spoke of her writing. She was always so busy, so distant. I thought she had no time for dreams." The two spent hours poring over the diary. Claire shared stories of her mother, the moments of warmth and laughter, the quiet sadness that often shadowed her. Together, they began to understand Margaret in a way neither could have alone. Claire revealed that Margaret had once been a teacher, inspiring her students with tales of far-off lands and daring adventures. But life had a way of stifling her spirit. The loss of her husband during the war, the demands of raising a child alone, and the societal expectations placed on women of her time had all taken their toll. The diary, Claire realized, was her mother's secret refuge, a place where her dreams could live unencumbered. Inspired by Margaret's unfinished tale, Johnny decided to adapt it into a screenplay. He enlisted the help of Claire, who offered insights into her mother's world. The process was both exhilarating and challenging. Johnny wanted to honor Margaret's voice while bringing his own artistry to the project. The film was shot in Windermere, its haunting beauty providing the perfect backdrop for Eleanor's journey. Local residents joined the cast and crew, their enthusiasm adding a sense of community to the production. As the story came to life, Johnny felt a profound sense of purpose. This was more than a film. It was a celebration of a dream that had almost been forgotten. The screenplay expanded on Margaret's sketches and notes, weaving a rich tapestry of narrative. Eleanor's journey became a metaphor for Margaret's own struggles and triumphs. The hidden world Eleanor discovered was a place of wonder and danger, mirroring the complexities of pursuing one's dreams. Johnny immersed himself in the role of producer and creative consultant, ensuring every detail stayed true to Margaret's vision. He worked closely with the director, actors, and set designers, pouring his heart into the project. For Johnny, this was more than a job. It was a mission to honor an artist whose voice had been silenced for too long. The night of the premiere was magical. The town's small theater was transformed into a beacon of light and music. Locals gathered, dressed in their finest, their excitement palpable. Claire sat in the front row, clutching the diary like a talisman. When the film began, there was a collective hush. Margaret's story unfolded on the screen, her words brought to life with breathtaking visuals and heartfelt performances. By the time the credits rolled, there wasn't a dry eye in the theater. After the screening, Johnny stood on stage addressing the audience. "This isn't just a film," he said. "It's a testament to the power of dreams." Margaret's words remind us that it's never too late to create, to inspire, and to be remembered. Claire joined him on stage, holding the diary aloft. "Thank you," she said, her voice trembling. "Thank you for giving my mother's dreams a voice." As the audience erupted into applause, Johnny felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Margaret's diary had not only changed his life, but had also touched countless others. And somewhere he imagined Margaret was smiling, her dreams finally realized.